Well, boys and girls, what are we up to today? Well, apparently we're going to chart.
Matron, take them away.
And a warm welcome to one and all. If it's your first time here, I'm the big fella Scruff. And what I'm trying to do is put trading in the real world. Maybe show you a trick or two along the way. So if that sounds good and you find value, hit the like. Do comment on the videos below because I genuinely answer every single one of them. Grab yourself a coffee and we'll crack on. So let us flick this over straight away because this isn't far off going to market. Now, earlier on this morning, I was looking at the markets and I preempted a euro dollar trade and it's gone a bit south actually. Now, 7 o'clock this morning, all the signs were there for a buy, but it's pulled back on itself. But I'm not overly worried about it. Let me explain that a little bit. If I flick this over, it's telling me to buy it, to be trade, it's reasonable. For this segment, it said no, so I'm not going to do anything with it for the next hour. I'm just going to ride out what I've already got in play. Simply because if I'm wrong, I don't want to be adding any extra to it. But I'll show you that in just a second. But what it's also brought out is these two here. Now, it's telling me to buy the DAX. And it's also telling me to sell the USJPY, which if you're thinking about correlations, if you're buying that, you should be selling that. Very, very simple. So we're going to look at these. And also in the market pick, it pulled out the JPY. Now, there is the USD trade I was talking about. I'm going to let that run out and make some money. Now, that is the only thing that's going at the moment, and we're currently underwater with it. Now, there's no tickets. And yesterday you saw me do that lot. Okay. So what do we do here? Well, I'm just going to let this one look after itself. We'll get rid of the US tech. And we're going to look at this. Now it said wait. Why would it say wait? Well, let's just step this back out to what's called an anchor chart. It is selling. But what we can see, it's had a push. It's come down, but it's got a little bit of a resurgence back. Okay. Well, if that's the case, why? Let me just flick my other screen on. Because we're not a million miles away of going to market. Well, let's get a fib onto this. You can see that started there and it got up as high as there. It's stalling bang on this level. So what it's looking for, and we discussed this morning in the market call, about if it's coming to a level and it's going boom, 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 is that level going to hold? Well, it's a good sign as to see what's going on. So this is kind of for you, Peter, but it's also mainly for Trevor, because Trevor was talking about JPY and he was interested in it. And it just so happens that it's fired up on my sheet, so it's a good market. So if it's pushing up, and I can see it's pushing up, that's a good thing. It means I'm getting a better price. So let's just delve back on this slightly. So I'm just gonna, I'll tell you what, I'll just drop some levels on that before I go any further, just so I can see where they are when I come back. Just put a couple of target points on. All right. Starting to change. All right. Up, up, down. But let's look how well this level's held. And now the pressure's down. Okay. Where will it go? It'll come back to 50% of this if it's going to try and crash through. Why? Because markets do that. Do it all the time. You know, they'll come back. They'll retrace. Boom. Big power shift candle here. Power shift candle is just a strong directional candle. That's all it is. So there was aggressive buying here. But what you got to remember is there's always a buyer and a seller. Sellers came back in, but they were relatively weak. Buyers came, but look, the candle isn't really a strong candle to break through. Big tail at the top, telling you that the level may hold, and then sure enough, bang, down it came. All right, stalled dead on the level. Now it's going up for another go. Right, okay. So daily got to say on this. Same level, bang, 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 down. So if it is going to crash through, it needs some oomph. And that oomph comes from a retracement. So it'll come down, build back up, batter out. Okay. Is it ready to trade? Well, let's have a little look. There's nothing here. We've got a structure point down here. And there's nothing really up here for it to soak to. Go to 5 minutes. Again, there's nothing really to soak to apart from the tops of these. Okay. So where would we place our order? Well, if it's pushing up, you can do what's called a candle count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look for a logical point. Probably about under here. You know, let it run there. Okay. And then you can follow this price up. You could even be super safe and put it under here. You know, because what I want is the price to come to me. I want the price to slam down into it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming down. Don't particularly want to wait for it to get all the way down there. So there's a nice area to get in. So just going to drop a couple of orders there. Now what I'm going to do, because I've got things to do today, is I'm just going to stage it out. Now what does that mean? Well, what it means is I'm going to put multiple orders in at the same place. Put one there. Just a couple of quid each. But, stage them out. Different targets. And it helps self-manage the trade. Now I'm going to put 5 of these in because I'm reasonably confident with this market today. Just like so. There we are. Now they're all staged up, okay? And you can see they've got multiple targets running down. Now all here. Now it doesn't look great. I don't want it to break through there, so I'll stage up, if I have to, all the way up. But I need a starting point, and that starting point is going to be here. So again, you can see the tail there, showing pressure down, but we want this to push up. There it is, it's coming in. Boom, boom, boom. When that one gets hit, we'll pull it all into break even, so you can't lose any money. And then we'll see if the others run out. Simple stuff. So that's the play on this one. Now this one has a little bit of work to do, but I'm just going to keep half an eye on that. But at the moment, I'm concentrating on this. So that's it. So let me play it out, and then I'll come back to you at the end of the trade, because I'll just leave the camera running so you can see it. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Okay guys, premises on the trades are still there. Now I have put some extra positions in on the euro simply because it plunged down into good levels. Now I've split that euro trade, and what I've done there is this one's going to get me out of trouble, but this one's going to give me a little bit of profits as it comes up by cashing in and out. Why? Because I need the camera and I'm going to be out of sync for at least a couple of hours, so I wanted it to self-manage. So it's all predefined, it's set. I'm going to pull the targets into roughly around this area up here. Why here? Because it's a half decent swing point, and there will be a little runner inside it as well, so that'll sort itself out. This hasn't changed. The premise of this trade is identical. It's gone up, it's already cashed out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an order back here, so when it comes back it's going to pick that order back up again. So I'm going to do that now. So we're just going to drop that in where the others came from, and we're going to set it for another 10 pips. So that premise is back in line, so there it is there. So that'll run down and then start cashing out the same way because the premise hasn't changed. Now we are underwater at the moment to the tune of £310. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot of money, you know. It's well in tolerances to where I want to be. I know exactly where I'm getting out, and at the moment it's nowhere close. So we'll just play it out. All right, I'll see you after the meet.
Well, we're waiting.
Okay guys, today has been a bit of a sod, to be honest. I didn't get the euro wrong, but I did get the entry wrong, so I had to manage and work my way through it. Now you'll have seen there's been other markets today, and that's really just me kind of showing the guys in the squad the way. I get inundated with messages throughout the day Will you look at this? Will you do that? Do the other? And I kind of feel duty bound to do it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll follow it through. So it's kind of a little salute to you, Paul. We were looking at USJPY in our meeting, and I really wanted to follow that through and show you it to the end. Already committed into the euro. All the signs were there for what I wanted, so I did that. Then we've got Hoagie, our Aussie resident there, Mark. Little salute to you. So dropped the DAX in for you. And then we got Paul Scruff, who was looking at cable. So we put that in as well. Because contrary to belief, I do have the group's best interest at heart. I always do, you know. But I've also got to put the charts first. None of what I did today was a whim. It was all planned, and it was planned in exactly the same way. And anyway, you've just seen the fruit. But part of planning is escaping when things could potentially go wrong. Now, this particular market is incredibly stretched at this point, and it's primed to reverse. Now, it had already come down a reasonable amount. You can see that. Thump, 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 thump. And what I was looking for initially this morning was it to break through the tops of this to come back up here. Why? Because it's been bouncing around, struggling. And if we go into the bigger picture, it's been on a merry old run down, but then it's pushed down and failed to go further, meaning it has opportunity to push higher. That's the premise. Markets being markets, didn't want to play with the premise, wanted to do its own thing. You have to manage it. So what's the sensible thing? If you think this is going to reverse, but you are being paid and you're coming to the end of the night, which we are, do I really want to sit in it? No, I don't. So we've got nothing running. There's no tickets. And that is the trade for today. Now, I've sacrificed 2 orders. Now, you can say, well, you give the money away. I didn't. The money didn't exist till the point I bank it. Up until that point, it's just a number. Doesn't mean anything. And as long as this number is positive, I couldn't care how many red bits are in this bit. I really couldn't. Should have got out a little bit earlier than I did, but nature of what we do. Okay. But even if I look at this, and so where are we at? We are 458.50. If I minus off what I did yesterday, minus 75, I still made 279 quid. And it was a hard 279 quid. Really hard. But the moral here is I made it. You know, not every day is roses. You can't have it singing and dancing every day. No 2 charts are the same. You can apply the same system to each one of the charts, and you can wait for the same setups, but one chart's going to be faster than the other, you know. And that's why you look at the DAX. You can get a quick burst, grab your money, get out, happy days. Look at the DAX, wait for the quick burst. That burst was priming up from early morning, you know, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Showed signs, but it didn't come in till after lunch. JPY, again, showed signs this morning, had a bit of a flush, and then thump, down it came, just as I thought. Likewise with the euro, what we've seen, it pushed down heavily, so I got in way too early, and then I just had to manage it out. That's what trading's all about. It's not about entry. It's not about anything. It's about reading the conditions, make an informed choice. But if you get it wrong, like I did today, not perfect, do get it wrong. But if you manage it, you can manage it to a positive expectancy. And that's trading. Just the same as any job. Not everything goes plain sailing. Sometimes you've got to think a little bit out the box. That's what I've done today. So there we go. Cherish your thoughts. Drop it in the comments. Did you have a good day today? Good, bad, indifferent? Was I happy with today? Not really. It was very bitty. Time's my enemy at the moment, and I'm finding things very difficult. Just trying to juggle everything together. But at the same time, I'll just start working on more of a routine, get this house done, help the guys a little bit more, and keep making these videos for you guys to be inspired. Anyway, so as always, guys, trade well, keep your risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.